croeso. Wow, that was amazing. Thanks, Tanya. I feel really energised. Welcome to day 2. Absolutely delighted that we have Heledd Fychan here with us. Heledd Fychan, MS, Chair of the Cross-Party Group on Arts and Health. Some of you may, we shared the recording of the Senedd debate that Heledd initiated and chaired recently, which was phenomenal, a 2-hour debate on the value of the arts. We've got it on the WAHWN website if nobody saw it. So today, Heledd and I are just going to have a 10-15 minute conversation really about the cross-party group and its function and potential. So, yeah, welcome.
Brilliant, thank you very much for that help, diolch. Do you think I can get the Senedd every day to start like this? That would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Poor Heledd just literally got off a train and straight into a dance workshop. Love it. So I've got 3 questions I'm going to discuss with Heledd. And there may or may not be time to open this out for questions, but of course we do have the panel this afternoon that Heledd will be joining. So Heledd, welcome, croeso. As chair of the Cross-Party Group on Arts and Health, what do you see as the most promising avenues for integrating arts into health policy in Wales?
I think the fact we have an election next year and that lots more people are starting to talk about arts and health and actually realising the potential. I know many people in this room will have known for decades of that, but I think the fact that we've seen for so long now culture and arts being pitted against the NHS, rather than seeing as being completely connected. The Future Generations Commissioner has been making the case recently in terms of more focus in terms of the power of arts and culture, in terms of our health service. And I think the more voices we can add to that, that means that it will end up in party manifestos. I think that's where we need to get to over the next few months.
Absolutely. And just to say, if anybody's not familiar with the cross-party group on arts and health, it was initially set up by Ed Morgan, and the purpose is to really achieve political traction and affect policy change. So it's a really important group that meets quarterly. Heledd, kind of moving on really, what are the practical steps that arts and health advocates or champions can take to engage more members of the Senedd?
I think the challenge, if you're a practitioner, is that you're so busy doing, we know resources are scant and so on, but I think it is the time now to make that contact with people who'll be standing, because one of the big challenges we have is we know that in the next Senedd there'll be so many new faces. We know that there will be an additional 36 Senedd members anyway, but even of the current 60, many are standing down, many of whom are supportive of this agenda and did speak in the debates recently. So I think being able to engage those who are candidates prior to the election, of showcasing the work that is going on, inviting them to see projects and so on, so that they get what this means. Because I think for some, they still don't really understand. They see it as a nice to have or additional thing that can really help someone, rather than seeing it as part of the solution, that it's equally as important to medical intervention, that this is treatment, it is there to support people and can be transformational in its own right. Yes. And I think we still see some people say, oh, this is really nice, or there's one great project in my locality. I think once they visit and see what it is, hear about the breadth of the work, I think that's where we get the policy changes. But at the moment, you know, we have a challenge with the cross-party group, is that very few Senedd members actually attend that. They will, however, find it more difficult to turn down an invitation to go and see an actual thing happening in their community, and to be able to hear from people who are directly affected, impacted in a positive way. So I think the challenge for all of us that truly believe in this is how do we ensure as many Senedd members as possible, and those who will be Senedd members, actually get behind this, so that we have that approach that is consistent across Wales, because it's still very much a postcode lottery and the investment is tiny compared to what's needed.
Yep, thank you. Final question. We know there's a growing evidence base around the impact of arts and health, a really strong and compelling evidence base. But how can we better translate this evidence into policy change? What role, really, can the cross-party group have in amplifying that message?
I think what's really powerful about the cross-party group, that it is bringing people from across Wales together, and that we're able to develop that body of evidence, that we're able to bring together those examples of things that are happening and push for policy changes. So cross-party groups, in one way, are there to kind of help shape the policy agenda. So rather than hope that a politician gets it and thinks of these things by themselves, that we can actually help shape where governments need to take this, why we're not able to perhaps take things further, despite the fact that we've had for a number of years now the partnership between the Welsh Arts Council and the NHS Confederation. But how do we actually elevate that? Because still, at the moment, we're seeing cuts across Wales. Some health boards invest more, others still cut. We still don't have enough people training. And when you think about the number of people now who are thinking of not going towards the arts as a career, we're seeing in schools less people taking music, less people taking drama and so on, whereas actually there are so many amazing jobs that we could have here in Wales that could have so many different solutions in terms of tackling some of our biggest issues. But we're not really promoting those jobs, even in schools. So it's not just the health minister you need to get on board, is it? It's education, it's the culture minister, it's everyone. And I found it really depressing last year when I was leading a debate in the Senedd about the value of culture and the arts, that the then Deputy Minister for Culture was just shouting at me, but what about the NHS? And I was like, this is about the future of the NHS. And I think that's how we have a challenge, I think, is to get every minister realising the potential of this work, because we're not going to find the workforce overnight either, are we? So there are things that we really need to embed and start changing, I think. And I think Wales is really well placed to do this. You know, we've got the Future Generations Act, but the least developed goal is around culture. And we need to change that, because we all get why it's important, and we just need politicians across every party now that gets this, so we get those policy changes and investment.
We've got 5 minutes. Are there any questions for myself or Heledd about the cross-party group? Any questions?
Just one second, I'm going to come to you. We'll probably have time for 2 questions. I'll start here and then I'll go to the press, and I think it's Yolo.
Hello, Prue.
Hi, I'm Prue. I'm part of the cross-party group. Hi, Heledd. It's great to have you. And thank you so much for that clear statement that what we deliver is clinically relevant. It's about treatment. It's not just about prevention. And that's a message we don't get out loud enough. And my request is, I thought you spoke so well. What our job is in the next 3 months even is to contact all our potential new MSs and make sure they visit a project that we're running. So would it be possible for us to have each person who's been at this conference to have a list of who that is with the different areas, so that we can actually proactively do that? Because like you've said, I can absolutely agree that's the way to change things.
Prue, just to say, on our WAHWN website, we do have a list of all the local and regional MSs, and we can maybe share that when we send out a follow-up to the conference. Yeah. Yeah.
The new ones, once they're confirmed, all political parties will be able to share those. So through the cross-party group, we'll be able to request those from the political parties and share those. Obviously, it'll be dependent on them providing them, but we can try and collate those as the CPG. I think that's an excellent idea. Yeah.
Helo, Iolan ydw i, a dwi'n artist arweiniol ar brosiect gan Theatr Cymru ar y dibyn sy'n cynnig cyfleon i bobl sydd wedi effeithio gan ddibyniaeth. Ac sy'n ddifyr gweld dy safbwyntiau di o ran rôl yr iaith Gymraeg, achos dwi yn teimlo fel cenedl lleiafrifol bod yna tabw a bod hi'n anodd iawn i ni leisio profiadau heriol oherwydd bod ni eisiau cyfleu'r iaith mewn ffordd delfrydol. Ond be da ni'n ffeindio efo cyfieithydd fel Lowri yn bresennol yn bob un sesiwn, mae yna bobl yn cael ei denu at y gwasanaeth oherwydd bod y Gymraeg yn cael ei chyflwyno mewn goleuni agored, iach, sy'n rhoi gofod saff i bobl fynegu i trauma, ac ydy bosib cysylltu hyn hefyd efo y polisi o miliwn o siaradwyr Cymraeg a gweld yr iaith mewn cyd-destun o adfer pobl ac o unioni trauma a bod hi'n iaith a diwylliant agored yn hytrach nac yn gul ac efo tabw.
Yn sicr, dwi'n meddwl mae'n gyfan gwbl hanfodol bod ni'n sôn am argeledd yn y ddwy iaith lle bynnag ydych chi'n Nghymru hefyd. Da ni'n gwybod bod hynny ddim yn wir ar y funud, a os da ni'n meddwl ynglyn â pwysigrwydd yr agenda yma gydol oes hefyd, eithriadol o bwysig. Dwi'n meddwl dyna'r her lle mae'n dod wedyn efo recriwtio a hyfforddi, a bod ni felly yn gwneud siŵr bod datblygu sgiliau yn y Gymraeg i allu gweithio'n ddwyieithog yn gyfan gwbl hanfodol. Ond yn sicr, dwi'n meddwl mae'r cyfoeth sganddo ni o ran y diwylliant yn yr iaith Gymraeg hefyd. Mae yna bethau wedi bod yn newid, a dwi'n meddwl o'n i'n rhan o sgwrs yn Eisteddfod Genedlaethol yn Wrecsam leni efo ADHD mewn menywod ar ffaith bod yna blogia yn y Gymraeg ac ati a cyfle i fynegu yn greadigol yn eithriadol o bwysig. Ond dwi ddim yn gweld hwn fel agenda ar wahân. Dwi'n meddwl mae popeth da ni'n ei wneud yn gorfod bod yn hollol gynhwysol a bod y Gymraeg wrth gwrs yn gorfod bod yn rhan o'r weledigaeth honno. Da ni'n gweld yn y gwasanaeth iechyd yn aml dydan bod y diffyg yn y Gymraeg yn rhywbeth sydd yn eithriadol o heriol, hyn oed diffyg diagnosis yn y Gymraeg, heb sôn am y driniaeth. Felly mae rhaid i'r Gymraeg fod yn rhan o hyn. Dwi'n yn gweld o fel peth ar wahân o gwbl.
Yeah, great answer. And also just in terms of the creative workforce, there's still not enough Welsh language practitioners, and that's something that WAHWN is trying to address through its Stepping In programme. So we are in conversation with colleagues across North Wales at the moment to build a partnership and secure some funding to make sure that there are more practitioners being able to deliver in their native language with practitioners who want to receive that support in their own language. So yeah, we're really mindful of that.
Okay, great.
I think we've run out of time now, but Heledd is... Oh, sorry, we've run out of time now, but Heledd is with us today and is joining the panel this afternoon. So I think you're around if anybody wants to...
Yeah, very happy to have conversations. If anybody has ideas for manifestos that you're trying to influence or want to get in touch with your local representatives, please feel free to get in touch with me anytime. I think this is a collaborative approach to try and get something in all party manifestos. I'm trying for mine and I've secured that, but we've got other parties where we need to get those commitments from as well.
Okay, diolch yn fawr.